Hi everyone, I'm Sheena and welcome to the thing I bought from Special US Edition. Now, there's so many things that happened on my trip to the US that I had split up into 2 episodes. So this episode is all going to be about the logistics and tips and tricks of the stuff that I picked up while I was planning and going on the trip to the US. And the next episode will be actually about the things that I bought and the things that I brought there. So, waste no time, let's get into it. Now, one of the things you need to know about going to the US is that you can go to a telco such as T-Mobile and get yourself a prepaid SIM card. Now this is very nifty because the States isn't quite into free Wi-Fi yet. They do have some places with free Wi-Fi like Starbucks and some cafes, but if you need a reliable way to keep in touch and also to keep your own phone call costs, anything down, you're probably gonna want to get a prepaid SIM card like this. Now I got this from T-Mobile. SIM card's actually back here. The very nice man stuck it on for me, and it was about $60 before tax and any other extra stuff. So all in all, in total was about 70 something. But since I was there for 17 days, and this thing's actually valid for a month with 3 gigs of free data, or rather high-speed data, after which it goes just back to normal. And then it's also got unlimited calls and unlimited texting. So it was really very nifty for staying in touch and also getting us around. Now when we were in the States, we used I used Google Maps a lot to get around. Now, I was for some bizarre reason, designated navigator. So me, my Samsung S5 and my T-Mobile card helped us get around everywhere. Essentially, this thing helped us to get to a road trip from Los Angeles all the way to Vegas, and then within Vegas there was a lot of driving around as well. And then when we were in San Francisco, it also helped us to get onto various types of public transport. There would have been no way that this holiday could have gone as easily as it could have if I didn't have this and if I didn't have Google Maps. So thank you, Google Maps, we love you, you are awesome. Another thing that I like to talk to you about is if you're going to LA and if you're going to go to a bunch of theme parks, you want to search online for these things called theme park passes. Now they usually combine the admission to a few different parks for a much lower price than normal. So if you're planning to hit quite a few of them, you do want to look out for those. But if you, like me, don't really have a lot of time in LA and you just want to go to specific ones, it's okay to go and look for the passes for those parks specifically. We went to Universal Studios Hollywood and we got this. This is a front of line pass that you can get by going on their website and paying like a ridiculous amount of money. So as you can see from the back, it has a little barcode. So what happens is when you go to any ride, any show, anything within Universal Studios that requires queuing up, you go to the front of the line where the gate A symbol is, and then you give them the pass, and then they'll scan this thing. And then for the first time that day, the first time you go to that particular attraction, you get to go in without having to queue. Or rather, if you have to queue, it's the front of line queue, so it's usually about 10 minutes maximum. And this thing helped us to finish Universal Studios Hollywood in about, how long was it? Well, we got there about 10, we started about 10 and we finished at 6. So yeah, it's really quite worth it. Now, the thing is, you might be thinking, is it really worth it to spend that much more for admission? Yes it is. Just for a clue of how ridiculous the queues are, Universal Studios has this ride called Transformers, right? And Transformers is really quite cool. It's one of the better rides there, I believe. And the ride waiting time was about 2 hours. 2 hours. Just to stand in line and wait for a ride that's over in a few minutes. So if you want to save yourself the aggravation and the wait, you either have to go really early in the morning and rush down to take the ride straight away, or you can just get front of the line and go whenever. Or if you ever get asked at one of the shows to be a volunteer, go for it, because what happens is they'll give you a little coupon that gives you one front of line pass privilege thing for one ride of your choice. So you can go volunteer for a show, grab that coupon and run straight away for the ride that you want to do. So that's one other thing that you can do. Now, in Disneyland, it took a really long time, partly because, you have to queue for everything. They don't have a front of line option. But it wasn't so bad because, each wait wasn't that bad, and they're very efficient people. So, they quickly get you in, quickly get you out, and you don't have to wait horrifyingly long. And during the wait itself is usually quite entertaining as well. You listen to the music, you look at the stuff, that sort of thing. Just one caveat. They give you this thing, and then after that, their official photographer will help you to take a very nice photo on their DSLR camera with the mascot. Now, what they don't tell you is that after you go online to activate your photo pass to look at your photos, each photo costs $14.95 to download a digital copy. $14.95 for one photo. So yeah. The good thing about Disneyland is they're very, very open to helping you take photos with your own camera. So be sure to take advantage of that fact. Otherwise, you're gonna be stuck paying $14.95 for each photo, okay? Just be careful about that. Now, if you're thinking of driving in America, it's not a bad idea, especially for certain cities like LA and Vegas, where, you kind of need a car to get around, pretty much. I mean, I don't even know if they have a public transport system because, it's just so rare for people to take the bus that, yeah, people just drive. And without a car, it can be really quite frustrating trying to get around. Now, one thing is, though, that if you want to rent a car and you're going to Vegas, please do not rent the car in Vegas. Now, this is why. We rented our car in Los Angeles, and it was about $600 plus for 1 week plus 2 additional days. Our friends rented theirs in Vegas, and they paid upwards of $1,000. And this is in USD, not Singaporean dollars. So after you convert it, it just goes, yeah, it can be a little bit scary. Now, in Vegas, it is possible to take a cab, and they do have this thing called the tram that you can take. They have a day pass, so you can ride it unlimited times if you wanted to. They also have like a one-time trip sort of thing as well, and they have buses. But yeah, exactly how you pay for that sort of stuff, I have no idea. And if you're planning to go to the outlet malls, then yeah, it's really quite worth it just to rent a car. But not in Vegas, okay? Not in Vegas. What we did was we rented our car in LA, and then we drove down to Vegas, which is not that bad. It's about 3 hours plus 4 hours. Now, one thing though you have to be careful of is if you're driving in the middle of the day, it can be really hot for your car. There was a moment where we had to stop our car 4 times in total to let the tires cool down, because they were literally getting overheated to the point where the air pressure was too high, and if we just kept on driving, they might have exploded, which would be bad. So yeah, just take a note of that. If you're driving from LA to Vegas, try to do it maybe in the evening or the wee hours of the morning, not in the middle of the day like we did, unless you like to stop and let your tires cool down. Okay, now how about San Francisco? That was the 3rd city that we went to, and I find that over there is actually more worth it to just take public transport, because the public transport situation is actually pretty good. And if you rent a car, you're gonna be having a hell of a time trying to find parking that doesn't cost you an arm, a leg, or a small child. It's quite insane, the prices that we looked at. They're on par with Singapore CBD area, where it's like $20, $30, that sort of thing. Now, there are some that aren't so bad, but to be honest, unless the place you're staying in comes with free parking, you're probably not going to want to spend that much just on parking your car. I mean, we haven't even factored in the rent, right? So, just a thought. Now, the public transport system over there is actually pretty good, and there are a lot of buses, there are a lot of trams and stuff like that you can take. Go and buy yourself a Muni Pass. Where we got ours from was a Powell Visitor Center. It's at Powell Station. So it has everything there. There's a whole bunch of maps, different types of attractions. You can buy tickets there, and go get yourself the Muni Pass. It's like $23 for 3 days. They have different values for different days, and you can sit all the Muni transport modes in any time, any day, however you want, however many times you want, that sort of thing. Now, in San Francisco, they have these things called the cable cars. I think of them as trams because they're trams, not... Well, cable car would be like, you know, the cable and then the thing dangling, right? But anyway, if you're gonna want to sit a cable car to, you know, take photos, experience the whole thing, do not go to the one at Union Street, Union Square, that sort of place. Because it's crowded, it's the middle of town and everyone's there, there's a long queue and you can't really take any good photos because there's so many people squashed into it, you know. So what I do recommend is you can go to California Street, it's just a little bit down, and the tram there is absolutely empty. Nobody takes that tram for some bizarre reason. So, you know, it's perfect. You can take photos, you can, you know, just do whatever the hell you want on the tram. And the conductors are really, really friendly as well. You just let them know which stop you're getting off on and they'll, you know, stop the tram for you. So that's pretty cool. Now, if you are renting a car to drive around in the US and you're planning to do a long drive, there's a site that I found but didn't use called roadtrippers.com. Roadtrippers.com. So what it does is that it gives you a nice interactive map of your route after you've keyed it in, and then you can find like all the food places nearby, any places of interest, any sites, and there are people who leave reviews of those things as well, like, you know, whether it's worth the time to make a short detour there and that sort of stuff. So if you're planning to do a road trip, you know, you might as well go check it out. I didn't, but I would have. It's really quite cool. Now, if you're from Singapore and you're traveling to the US, you might find that you don't need a visa, but you do need this one thing called the ESTA. Let me just double check what it actually stands for. Electronic System for Travel Authorization. Now, you have to apply for this and it's about $14 per person. And if you don't apply for it, you might find out, as one of my friends did, that you might not be allowed on the flight. But thankfully, they were there to check in early enough, so the check-in counter helped them apply for it and they were able to fly there still. But otherwise, yeah, just don't risk it. Go online, please. Check if you need a visa, and if you don't need a visa, apply for the ESTA. They will tell you there on the list. Don't joke around with that, okay? Because the last thing you want is to fly 17 hours, 20 hours, and then find that you are rejected from entering the place. That's slightly scary. Now, after you've planned your trip, you might find that there's a lot of things to keep track of, right? Like the airplane tickets, the hotel bookings, the car bookings, the this, that, everything. And it can get a bit confusing and hard to keep track of. So that's why it's quite important that you use some way to track it all. Now, we used two methods. One was Evernote, in which we kind of coordinated every single thing in one notebook, like places to go, all that sort of thing, the planning stage. And then TripIt. TripIt was better for consolidating all the important information, like whether you booked a hotel, whether you booked a flight, that sort of thing. Everything was in there, and it has the nice reference numbers and everything in one place, so it's easy to refer to. So that's it from me here at Thing I Bought From. Now, next episode, I promise there'll be more things that I actually bought and brought there, so stay tuned. Bye bye.